So you were there in Karachi, and Pakistan have managed one of the most unlikely escapes in recent memory, batting out a staggering 171 overs in the fourth inning to secure the draw. Babar Azam grabbed the headlines at 196 in the top 10 highest fourth inning scores in the game's history. Let's start with him. He's gone a wee while without 100, and then he produces something like this, something we probably thought he was capable of, but to actually see it in a crunch situation is really special.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of when he walked out about day four, got to 2030, and it was kind of one of those things where you think Australia got this, and you're looking at for various subplots. And I remember saying to someone, well, at least we might get to watch Bubba hit 100. That would be kind of the kind of consolation from this test match. And the special thing was, he finished day four with that century. It was an immaculate century on a wearing pitch against a very strong Australian attack. And if he'd been knocked over ball one the following day, you would have still said that's up there with one of his best test hundreds, probably his best test hundred. But he didn't stop there. He kept on going. He kept on going. The concentration was incredible. He gave the odd difficult chance off Swepson, but thinking back now, I mean, it was he was close to perfection at times. It was just an incredible innings, and when he did get out on 196, having played some of the shots that he did, I mean, there was a period late on day four where Cummins is coming for him, and Cummins, threw in the Yorker and fast Yorker, and the thing about Bubba he managed to sort of just, he jammed the bat down, he'd stamp it onto the ground, and his defense was just immaculate throughout that whole innings, and when he did eventually get out for 196 to line, I mean, the first sense was, wait, what? Like he's gone. There was this kind of a hush that sort of hung in the air. I think people just left in slight disbelief that he was finally out, because there was a point in that final session, or even before that, for myself at least, where I thought, right, he's not getting out here. It depends on what's happening at the other end, but he is not getting out. But he kept on going, and when that sort of hush eventually ended, I mean, the roar that came from the people that were in that crowd yesterday, and from everyone that surrounded me, I mean, everyone rose for Baba. Everyone stood up and applauded it, because it was, I think everyone kind of realised that they'd watched one of the great test innings.
We've always known that ever since he made his international debut, not even his test debut, we've known he's classy. We know he can play fast bowling, he can play spin bowling. You mentioned the word concentration. Was it that made it so special? That's not something we've necessarily seen from him.
Yeah, well, I mean, it took him a while to hit that first test 100 as well. He was someone who'd, get to 50 or a bit more and, kind of lose it. And you've still seen that in the last couple of years as well. The thing is, you know what you're going to get with him, and that you're going to see some beautiful strokes, and you're going to see one of the game's, best stroke makers on play. But yeah, what made this special was combining all of that elegance, that typical Babar elegance you normally see, with just this resolute, this concentration, this immense focus, this kind of realization that he was going to, save his team. He's the captain now. This was his first test 100 as captain, I think I'm right in saying. And yeah, it was just, I mean, I think people have recognised that this is a player who can do all kinds of things. He can kind of do whatever he wants. And this was, it was almost like, this is about time. This is what he's very much capable of doing, and what he can do from here going forward.
What was the pitch like? Was it, I mean, people who maybe haven't watched much of the test match might look at the scorecard and think, was it basically the Rawalpindi pitch, but Pakistan had one bad first innings, or was there more in the pitch than that?
No, it wasn't like the Rawalpindi pitch. It was a pitch that definitely gave more. It didn't break up, incredibly. It wasn't a total minefield on that final day, as you can tell by the score and the kind of the rate that runs were scored at. But there was always still a bit for the spinners. For the quicks, there was, I guess, on day 4 you saw a bit of inconsistent bounce, but day 5 it was just about kind of being relentless and kind of using any hint of reverse that was there. I mean, Pat Cummins bowled a sensational spell. He just kept on going, and he prized out a couple of wickets, and he was immense. But this wasn't like Rawalpindi. There was definitely something more to this pitch, and you could see just by kind of look at it as well, the cracks, the rough that was there. If the ball, there were balls that did explode off the pitch from the spinners, and it was tough when the close fielders came in. You had to keep that ball down. You had to keep it down because those close fielders were hovering for the catch. So that there was definitely more life to this pitch.
Yeah, how do you think the Australians bowled in that 4th innings? I mean, Mitch Repson didn't have the prettiest figures in the world at the end, but Pat Cummins was quite keen to defend how he bowled on Test debut. Overall, how do you think the Australians bowled on those
first just to Swepson. He started day 5 really poorly. Lot of full tosses in his first couple of overs, and he really kind of struggled to get his length going. But I thought he came back really well, like very impressively. I think sometimes because we don't see that many leg spinners at Test level, I think even in that first session, I'm thinking, oh, this is he's not gonna have an impact here. But you realise, of course, with a wrist spinner, it's different. You need to probably be even more patient. And that second session, he bowled beautifully. Like, he was tossing it up. He was finding the right lines, finding the right lengths. He was, testing the edges. He was getting real proper grip, proper turn, and he bowled really well. The third session, I think he kind of went back a bit as well. But at the very same time, he did create chances. He should have had Rizwan out in those last few overs when a catch was kind of spooned to cover, and Usman Khawaja put it down. It was quite a simple catch. And that could have changed everything for him. But yeah, the figures don't look pretty for him. But I think there's still a very good bowler there. I think it would be harsh to just look at those 4th innings figures and completely write off Mitch Swepson. I think there's a decent leg spinner there for Australia who had had to come into a very high pressure situation in his first match. Looking at the other bowlers, like I said, with Cummins, immense. Stark always posed that threat around the wicket, and he bowled so well throughout that Test match as well. Nathan Lyon was excellent. I thought he gave it everything. I know people will now say that again he's failed to bowl Australia to victory, but I thought he bowled pretty well. He got those 2 wickets and 2 balls late in the day, and you thought, right, he's on it. He's gonna win it. But yeah, I mean, Pakistan was just resolute. They stood up, and you have to give them a lot of credit. I don't think it's one of those performances where you say that Australia were poor. I think that the Australians get themselves, with Cummins as captain, him bowling, he gave it everything. The one thing is that I thought they should have used they could have used Labuschagne a bit more.
I was going to ask you about this. I thought it was very strange that they didn't bowl Labuschagne at all, and then they turned to him at the very end. Like, either he's a threat who should be on earlier, or he's not and shouldn't be used at the very end of the game.
Yeah, I think maybe it was a show of faith in Swepson, but still, he came on for 1 over, and the ball was exploding off the surface. And I think we saw at Old Trafford, 2019 Ashes, he had that impact as well. I thought he should have come on earlier. But apart from that, can I really fault Australia? I think they gave it everything. But yeah, it'll be a tough one to say that they've lost this one, considering the way they set up the game. And I thought they set up the game very well. I thought Cummins was immense on day 3 as a captain and as a bowler in the way he set the game up. But yeah, I mean, those bodies are going to be really tired, and we're going to head to Lahore, and it's going to be, I think advantage Pakistan.
A lot of greedy neutrals were looking at the scorecard from afar and kind of willing Pakistan to go for the win a bit more when Babar and Rizwan were in. I, for one, thought that was very far-fetched. It's hard scoring runs in that wicket. And, you know, whenever a team gets within a sniff of chasing, you know, even just 6 and over in a test match, the field goes back and then the chance of a win diminishes quite quickly. Did you get a sense at all that Babar and Rizwan were going for the win at all? And do you think they were right in their approach?
It wasn't till after tea, for the first 2 sessions, obviously I was thinking to myself, this match is about survival. Pakistan is just going to go for the draw or whatnot. But that first over after tea, that first hour after tea, especially those first couple of overs, the runs really did pick up. And I thought they weren't going out and out for it, but they were still looking to score runs. And I think they were it felt like they were looking to see what could happen, whether, they were kind of keeping it, they were keeping an option there. And I think probably the genius of Babar's innings, the genius of Rizwan's innings, was that you felt that the impossible could really happen, that they could actually, break the world record. Obviously, once Babar went, obviously that totally, that totally went out of the picture. But the way Mohammad Rizwan batted, he just kept on playing his shots. Third new ball comes on and he's driving Cummins for 4 and he's going for it. He went for it. He was chasing that century as well. So that aggression was always there. The win just wasn't. It just wasn't. I wrote something yesterday, the day before, and I'd finished it by saying Abdullah Shafiq, who and Babar would, here's their chance to save this test match. I never wrote that this was their chance to win this test match. It couldn't compute. 500 and something. The world record was 418, something like that. It just wasn't in the picture. But the genius of the guys who were batting there made you think, right, they could have a crack here. But yeah, it was always going to be. Pakistan were going to come out happy yesterday. It was always going to be with a draw.
Thoughts on the decision not to enforce the follow-on from Australia? What's wrong with the follow-on? Why does no one ever follow on anymore?
I haven't really thought about that too much. If Australia enforce a follow-on, how would their bodies feel right now?
Would it be that much worse?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I feel like in the last 10 to 15 years, there's been a trend where the follow-on has become increasingly unfashionable. What's wrong with a good old-fashioned follow-on?
I don't know. I didn't think about it too much, to be honest. This is this poor analysis from me, but I just thought, yeah, fine. Give your bowlers a bit of rest. And, they did not bat for that long. They didn't overdo it at all. They pulled out pretty quickly, and gave their bowlers a bit of rest, and then they had more than 5 sessions of Pakistan. I think that's fair. I really do.
Fair enough. And then I know you've mentioned both of them, but I think it's worth mentioning Rizwan and Shafiq again. The roles that they played. Obviously, Babar will hog the headlines, but a special 100 from Rizwan, who now has an exceptional test record. Only Andy Flower and AB de Villiers averaged more of the gloves in test cricket than Rizwan, but keepers to score more than 1,000 test runs. And Shafiq, you wrote a brilliant piece in him the other day. A truly extraordinary start to his professional career, let alone his international one.
Yeah, I mean, Shafiq is a kind of that romantic Pakistani tale, isn't it? Just the, when we obviously, we cover England and we see a player does all right in county cricket, might get a Lions tour, might get another couple of Lions tour.
For England, I mean, literally as we speak, Matt Fisher and Saqib Mahmood are making their debuts. The young and exciting 24 and 25-year-olds who've only ever played 20 first-class games because they need to be managed despite never playing international cricket.
Developmental contracts and all that kind of thing. Pakistan is a different beast and a more exciting beast, and where Shafiq has played 7 first-class matches. 4 of them have been Test matches, and he can play. He can play. He's a pretty orthodox right-hander, and there weren't so many shots to speak of in that 96 that he made. But he's just in there. He's behind the ball and he waits for his moment. And when he gets his moment, he goes for it. There's the shot he plays off line where he tries to smack him down the ground, which he waits for. Basically, he'll block, and eventually he'll come down and swing it over long on for 6. He played a beautiful shot to get into 90s yesterday, where he came down to Tractor Swepson and drove him along the ground through extra cover. And yeah, Pakistan have found one basically in Shafiq, and he set up day 5 perfectly, and it was good that he stuck in there for most of that morning session, because if he goes early in that session, I think there's a different feel to the game. But he went end of that first session, and so Pakistan still very much felt in it at lunch. Rizwan there was just a constant frenetic energy to his innings. It was like he'd had a 6-pack of Tesco Blue Spark, and he was on it. And
drinks are available.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought Blue Spark. I've never had it. Kind of at the end of the game, where Pakistan, you'd think just the sensible thing here to do is just shut shop. He's going for it. He's playing his shots. He's trying to get singles and get to the other end, and nearly got himself a run out. I mean, we're talking about him in glowing terms here, but if he chips that ball from Swepson straight into the hands of Khwaja and it doesn't go down, I mean, we're talking a different story here. So he had a bit of luck, but yeah, it was just so much fun watching him bat. That I don't want to talk about what ifs, because the what actually happened was he celebrated a test century, and he kind of underlined that it was fitting that it was him and Babar who saved the day, because those are the 2 cricketers or 2 batters which Pakistani cricket kind of revolves around right now. They're the 2 guys who sit up top in that T20I order. They're all format fixtures really, and so it made sense that they were the kind of the two kings for the day. So yeah, it wasn't just Babar. It was Shafiq. It was Rizwan. Yeah.
I mean, going into the last Test match now, we are all set for a grandstand finale. I know it was only 0-0, but all to play for, and I think it's been a really, really interesting series. 2 teams we didn't really know where they were in terms of Australia not played a huge amount of away cricket. Pakistan haven't played a huge amount of home cricket. But so far it's been a good one. Taha, cheers for your time, and we'll catch up after the series finale.